It's 43 days of no information from the kidnappers of the 6 students from Igbonla College.
Well, it's really mind-troubling, I must say. Parents and guardians and Nigerians have been calling on government to do something about this. Government has said, we are on top of this matter. We're going to, but whatever they're doing is not for the public necessarily to know some of the tactics, but what they want is having these children back at home. That is and when they can judge, that's where they can peg or measure what government is doing.
Indeed, but then again, there's a need for government and, of course, the security operatives to give some kind of confidence to the parents, to all concerned, that they're actually doing, you know, something. Well, joining us in the studio is the initiator, Leadership for Students Initiatives, Dr. Ojong. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you on the show.
Pleasure always.
I wonder what you think about this 43 days on, and these kids are still in kidnappers' den, and this is a rainy season. People are beginning to be worried about, you know, their health.
Yeah, there's a reason to be worried. Every Wednesday I engage students, and a lot of them are really afraid about the reality of what's happening, not just in Lagos, but all over the place. And briefly, because a number of people will also come to ask you questions as to not only what you think about it, but about what you know about it. And the issue of kidnapping really is not new. As you know, it came as a result of the philosophy or misconception that the wealth of the society is not adequately distributed, and some people felt they have to get their own part of the wealth. And the target is, if we kidnap the kids of the wealthy people, then we are going to get part of the wealth. Unfortunately, it has moved past the level of just kidnapping the kids of very wealthy people. And there are interests here and there now. And when you talk about this particular kidnap in Ebola, it's a government college. Ideally, you may be thinking that the children of the wealthy people will be in private school. So what is the connect between a kidnapper coming to kidnap in a public school? It's because of interest. And I call it, in one of my write-ups, I call it 3 Ps. The first P is, okay, the interest of the parent, because they know that once they kidnap from the school, the parents are not going to let the government rest. The second is the interest of the press. The press will be on it, counting days, and that will also put pressure on government. And the third P is the interest of the public, the entire public, the outcry of the people. And this will give them at least more money, quote unquote.
It gives a picture that these people, these kidnappers are actually very strategic in their thinking. They just don't go haphazard in carrying out the activities. I mean, when you recall somebody like Evans, for example, and the way he went on and was able to, you know, escape being arrested for all of 7 years.
Yeah, the major challenge we have with governance in Africa is that we try to cure a 21st century ailment with a 19th century medication. And the best you can get is a 20th century healing. Because these people, they are on the internet, they keep reading, they brush up, but you see your police along the street. How can they actually fit into 21st century policing? So we have that challenge in governance. The innovation of these people has shattered traditional thinking of our government, of people in government. And it's really a sad reality. That's why you will see a large expanse of land like these government schools here and there, and you see one security man that does not even understand how the internet works. We have not taken advantage of the internet. So it's really a
the old man's always to be able to open the gates, allow students to come in and shut it back.
And Mike, at every point when you call them security men, I say they are gate men. Their duty is just to open gate. They cannot interpret even security information.
All right, now the difficulty in finding these children, I'd like us to get into the nitty-gritty of some technicalities in here. Is it a function of the inability of security agencies to actually know where they are, or it is just all about we know, but engaging these people, we don't want to jeopardize where the security and welfare and maybe lives of the children?
I think it's a combination of both. Because we just talked about the way these guys think now. They move from place to place. They don't get to stay in one place. Then secondly, do we have the technology to continue to track this set of people? She just talked about Evans the other time. This guy was in this business, and to the point that he was able to buy that kind of expensive phones because these guys have access to money. They have moved fast. If you see the budget of the Nigerian police, for example, begin to trace it from 2011 to this present moment, you discover that each year they will not have access up to 70% of whatever budget they have. And apart from that, the money-carrying members of the police will not allow the gun-carrying members of the police to have access to the money. So it shows that at the end of the time, security is an issue.
So there is a money-carrying member.
There's a money-carrying members of the force and the gun-carrying members of the force. So there's a disconnect between the two. Wow. And until we sort this out, until government begins to know that in reality we are more than 200 million people, and if you want to secure yourself, the era of having to attach 10 policemen to one senator is over. Until we begin to think
are we really up to 200 million now?
Mike, I take my dinner in Oshodi, under the Oshodi Bridge every Thursday. To you, you may think we are not up to that. But I know that the bridge hardly take people when they cross every evening. To you, you may think in Lagos we are 20 million people. To me, because I interact with these people, I know we are more than that. So the reality of what we have in Nigeria now is very shocking, and security is it. We do not understand
and
that
with this population, there is hardly any kind of projection to meet the demands of this growing population, whether in terms of infrastructure, in terms of socio-economic,
a nation that does not understand or that does not know the number of its population, the actual number of the people, cannot plan for the people. So at best, we're just going to continue like this.
With estimations.
So now the second aspect of it is that, fine, even at the end of the day, if we do recognize that, if we do know that this is where they are, can we engage this set of people? We are in a society that has empowered few individuals. These are former militants. They had money. They had access to resources. They have... Many of these people are from Ondo State.
No, make us understand that. What do you mean engage these people? Are you talking about government engaging or security operatives engaging
engaging
or
negotiation?
And finding out exactly.
I'm not even talking about negotiation. I'm talking about going out to actually free these people.
Okay.
Do we have the
combating them?
Do we combating them?
Confronting them.
Confronting them.
But would it be fair, really? Lagos State, for example, I recall having, we interviewed the CP, Fatai Owosheni, the Commissioner of Police here, and he said that he was one of the luckiest commissioners of police because he's really well funded to tackle the security challenges of the state. And yet we have this problem. Of course, that's not to say that the police is not doing its best. Yeah. I'm sure you would agree. Yeah. But what exactly is the missing link? I mean, you talked about technology earlier. Now that we seem to have experienced this over and over again, one would imagine or think that you would have things like CCTV and all kinds of technology in place to ensure that this doesn't happen as frequently.
It's just like an estate of about 10 buildings, and we have one wealthy man among them, and he decides to build a very high fence and says, oh, I'm going to secure myself. He can do that for as long as he cares, but one day, because the entire estate is not secured, insecurity will still enter into his gate, and that's what we have. In Southwest, for example, now, we may say that, okay, with the support of the Lagos State government, because the Commissioner of Police will also agree with me that the funding he's talking about is not from the federal alone, it's being supported locally by the state government. Now, if we say the Lagos State government is supporting police in Lagos, can we say that about Osun State? Can we say that about Ogun State? Can we say that about Ondo State? More so that this route, we are talking about waterways here, not even road. It is making it exceedingly difficult, if not practically impossible for them to secure Lagos because of the waterways. You can, from Lagos here, before you know it, you are in Ondo State. From Lagos, before you know it, you are in Ogun State. Yeah. So we need not just funding, we need a partnership between institutions of government, between security agencies, at least along the coastal lines. We talk about Ondo State. We need partnership so that when you commit crime in Lagos State, you will not run to the other state. And that's exactly what they do now. I learned that the kids have been relocated for
a number of times.
You understand? And for now, I can authoritatively tell you that I doubt whether they are within Lagos and Ogun. They are not.
And there are latest reports, too, that say that the parents or the kidnappers have actually assured the parents that their kids will be out anytime soon. But can you actually believe these kidnappers?
The point there is you cannot just trust kidnappers. But let's even talk about the issue of negotiation. Sometimes like we have brought several analysts here, they said that government usually negotiates. It's just that they cannot come out to say this is what we're doing. Now, if we are very concerned, everyone is concerned about the safety of the children, if there's a confrontation or kind of a combat, why don't they negotiate and then get the children out and then trace these people later on and have them apprehended or have them confronted? Shouldn't that, or could that be an option?
Yeah, I think it's not just an option, it's an option to be explored. Because at this point in time, either we like it or not, security-wise, we are failing as a nation. So we have, and even in advanced countries, it gets to some point that these people, we have to engage them in negotiation that, oh, this is what we will do at one point or the other. But the government, I'm not expecting the government to come on the air and say, oh, this is what we are doing. But again, there are information that you need to let the people know, at least to build the believability level of the people in the government. I am not going to, for example, as a parent, I'm not going to sit in my house and be comfortable if I'm not hearing anything. You need to continue to assure them that you are doing something about it.
Like the silence is too loud.
It's loud.
Okay, now the child rights law and executive order on safeguarding of, schools and children, is it a reality only on paper as far as Nigeria is concerned?
As far as Nigeria is concerned, it's not even a reality on paper. Because even if we have it on paper, we may still be hopeful that, oh, it's one day going to be a reality. It's what we have on paper that has been kept or thrown into the trash. As we speak now, security in school is a concern. And it's not just in public schools, also in private schools. These people are perhaps targeting government school because of the interest of government in all this. So we need to, number one, adequately plan for these people. We need to take advantage of technology. You see, when you talk about technology, people think, oh, it's just one thing. Let me cite an example. I was driving from my house to the studio here, I remember, and I saw a man knocked down by Okada. Everybody, everybody was just driving past. I got to that point, I stopped, and I wanted to carry this man, but a thought ran through my mind. If this man should die in your vehicle, do you have enough contact on your phone to tell the people that you were not the one that hit him down? The answer is no. Then I drove off. Do you know what technology will have done? If there was a camera station there, I would be confident to help this man. Because at the end of the day, I know that I am not the one that hit him down. So this is what technology can do. We must continue to take advantage of technology. We have gone past the level where we are.
All right. Dr. John, initiator and CEO Student Leadership Initiative, thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. Nice to see you.